It's another link up with the Anfield Wrap and Goal.com. I am John Gibbons and I'm joined by Melissa Reddy, and we're here to talk transfers, of course, because it's the topic of the summer. It's all that's on the back pages. And we're going to talk today, Mel, about just a few conflicting reports over the last 24 hours about Oxlade-Chamberlain. He's an Arsenal player at the moment. Apparently Liverpool would quite like him, but it was looking like it might happen more likely than not last week, and then some reports over the last 24 hours suggesting he's more than likely to stay at Arsenal. So I'm interested to hear what you're hearing on the ground and kind of your kind of instincts on where the story's at.
Yeah, I think initially there was a suggestion that Liverpool had made fresh contact with Arsenal, but that's not the case. They did make a check on him in the past to ascertain what sort of fee Arsenal would be looking at and stuff, considering he now enters the final year of his contract. Now, at the moment, new talks have opened up on an extension with Arsenal. I'm told that the figure is in excess of £100,000 a week that he'll be offered, but he wants assurances over his standing within the squad. He feels that he's at an age now, where he needs to be a preeminent member and feel valued and welcome. He wants to play in his favoured central midfield position, but the problem at Arsenal at the moment is they're in a state of unsettling flux. There's so much for them to sort out, and the priority at the moment is Alexis Sanchez and Mesut Ozil, getting them to agree new contracts, because they're also their deals run out next year in June. So with so many moving parts, a lot can still happen. Now, Liverpool retain an interest in him because for them, they look at him and they think, what we want is to increase competition in the squad. Yeah. He's able to do it in a number of positions. Now, if you look at Liverpool's midfield options, he obviously won't get the assurance that he's going to be a guaranteed starter in Liverpool's midfield. But if he's willing to come in and be part of Jurgen Klopp's fluid, flexible approach. He likes his players to be able to play wherever the team requires them for a game or for a season, as we saw with James Milner. And if he's open to that idea and talks drag out with Arsenal, then I'm sure even Arsenal will be in a position where they say, well, we're not getting anywhere here. Yeah. If you guys are willing to pay £25 million, well, let's negotiate. And I think Liverpool would be open to assessing then, depending on how their targets are going and what they've got in. Yeah. Whether he fits. Now, he's never been a core part of the plans. They've always looked at him and thought he can supplement what they get in. But as we know with transfers, if you start feeling like you're losing ground with your main business, you may have to then, refocus and get the other lads in. At the moment, the feeling is quite strong that pressure is being put on Arsenal to give him all his demands. There's, a flood of stories coming out from London, and there's a feeling that it's the players' camp putting them out. There has been links with Manchester City and Chelsea. I'm told he's not really on the agenda for City. City have loads of signings that they're working on, the full-backs, and they want Alexis Sanchez in, which then ties into the Arsenal. So
there's the concern then come that maybe Liverpool are being used as a bargaining tool in his own contract negotiations, because we've seen that before as Liverpool fans. We've been linked with players and you think, oh, he sounds good, and then suddenly he signs a new contract where he is. Is there maybe a little bit of concern in Liverpool that that's happening?
I think there is an element of a bargaining tool. I think every club that's been linked with him, Chelsea as well being linked, I think all that, whether there's veracity in the links, like how strong they are, but all that will be used to, it does strengthen his hand. It's anyone negotiating a salary, I'm sure we'd all know that from our own jobs. If you get an offer, it increases your chances of getting more money at the place you're currently at. However, there is an attraction in Liverpool for him, because it allows him to work under a manager with a completely different vision, allows him to work in a different sort of football philosophy, more attacking, more aggressive, more explosive, which probably suits his talents better. Sure. And he can fill in, in a lot of regions, Liverpool have Champions League football this season, Arsenal are in the Europa League. So there is a good chance as well that that he might actually end up at Liverpool. Just the feeling at the moment, Arsenal are confident that they will eventually get him to sign. And like I said, Liverpool continue to monitor it. No fresh approach has been made as reported. But as the window progresses, if nothing's tied up with Arsenal, if he's still available, if he does show that willingness to join, then a deal could be done.
And just before we finish, you mentioned priorities before, and this one very much seems to me like it's viewed by the club as a bonus. So obviously they still really want a centre-half, they're still looking at left-backs, and there's obviously the Keita links, and you sense that if the club feels, look, if we can get Oxlade-Chamberlain, then brilliant, he's going to be a great addition. If not, then they're maybe not too worried because they feel like they've got options in those areas already. Do you sense that as well?
Yeah, I mean, if Liverpool get ideally their priority targets in every position, that would be an incredible window. I think already they've made a strong start with Solanke and Salah. I think it would actually be very nice to get Oxlade-Chamberlain in because of the fact that he can fill in a number of positions. However, I personally wouldn't like a situation where they're missing out on priority targets and then they've got to, sort of, I don't want to use the word downgrade, but then they've got to look elsewhere and go lower down the list. And then where he becomes one of the main bits of business the club have done. I do think, however, that their priority targets are obviously the main ones for a reason. They feel, for what we need, these are the guys that are absolutely the best in those areas, and they're the ones that are going to elevate us the most, which obviously means they're the ones that are going to be quite difficult and complex to get. And I really hope that Liverpool are able to pull off those deals, because it would make a massive difference, and I think it would give the club and everyone that lift going back into the Champions League. But yeah, I think Oxlade-Chamberlain, like I said, until he signs that new deal, even there is a confidence that it will happen, until he signs it, anything is possible, and Liverpool will retain that interest in him.
Anything is possible. Do stick with us at goal.com and the Anfield Wrap for all the best LFC opinion and news, and hopefully we'll be back with a link up soon.